Hi, everybody. We're excited that you can be with us for our Good Stewards Together program. It's going to be a 12-week program, and we have a send-off, and then we'll have 2 Bible weeks, 2 Spirit weeks, 2 Disciple weeks, 2 Church weeks, 2 World weeks, and a send-off. And this week is our kickoff. So this week we're going to kind of talk about what we're going to do and what a good steward is. So another thing we're doing is each week they have like questions and things, and we're supposed to, if we're actually together, are supposed to talk about. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell them on here as well as post them so that you can put your answers in the comments below. So the questions are, what do you like about the age you are? What is something you are looking forward to this summer? What is something you take care of in your family? Do you have a pet, a toy, a device, or a plant, or something like that you take care of? So if you could comment below what your answers are, and that way we can interact a little bit more. So our first thing we're going to talk about is what stewardship, some examples of stewardship. So I'm going to show you some items and tell you how we use them to be good stewards. So our first item is a watering can, and we can use our watering can to take care of plants because plants need water to grow, and a watering can can help us do that and keep them healthy. Another thing we can use is a thermometer, right? What do we use a thermometer for? To check our temperature. So this helps to check if someone is sick so we know how to take care of them, right? Yeah, you put it in your mouth. Another item that can be used for stewardship is a pet food bowl. And that helps us give our pets food, yep, and that keeps them healthy. Another item we can use is a reusable water bottle. A water bottle helps us stay hydrated, and it also means that we don't use plastic, and that takes care of our world. Another thing we use, which I'm actually videotaping on, is a smartphone or any phone. That can help us check in with family. You can use your text message, email, talking on the phone, or even social media, and that's a great way to take care of people. Another thing we can use is money, right? Money we can give to our church or to another organization that serves people and helps care for people that are in need.
Can I buy some toys?
No, you mean buy toys to give to someone in need? So over the next several weeks, we are going to learn about how we are all called to use what we have to be good stewards. So let's pray. Dear God, we thank you for giving us this time to be together, to grow in faith, and to learn how each of us is a steward of what you have given us. Amen.
Amen.
So our next part is we're going to talk about more about being a good steward. So a steward is anyone who takes care of something that belongs to someone else, cares for a household, property, land, finances, or people, is in charge of a household, including the people who live and work there. So I'm going to show you some items again and talk about them, because each week we're going to talk about these items. So this is the Bible I'm using. I'm sure a lot of you have different Bibles at your house, but there are a lot of books in the Bible, and those books tell a lot of stories, and those stories are filled with characters who are doing their best to follow God. The Bible tells us stories to help us learn how to be good stewards. During the 2 events focused on the Bible, we'll discover how people in Bible times lived as good stewards and what the Bible tells us about stewardship today. So the next one, I actually don't have an item, but let's raise your hand if you can feel the wind when you have a fan, right? Can you feel it, or when you blow on your hand, right? So we can't see the wind or the air, but we can feel it, and God's Spirit is the same way. We can't see it, but it lives in us and is working in us each and every day. During the Spirit events, we'll learn how the Holy Spirit inspires us to live as good stewards and help us discover how to live out our stewardship calling. Then I have sandals. These are Melanie's sandals. Jesus and his followers wore sandals because they lived in a place where there's a lot of sand and it's hot most of the time. And since it's summer, I bet a bunch of us are wearing sandals too. That's fitting because we are also disciples of Jesus. A big part of discipleship is stewardship. During the 2 discipleship events, we'll explore how we can be good disciples by being good stewards and vice versa. And then raise your hand if you think that the church is a building. And now raise your hand if you think the church is the people. And that is actually a trick question because it's both. Both are true. When it comes to stewardship, it's the people in the church that are doing the work, and church buildings are sometimes a tool that help us do the work. During our 2 events focused on church, we'll discover all the ways we steward our resources to help those in need. Now, our last thing is the world, a globe. Our Christian community isn't just here in our town or our state or our country. So, yep. He's got the whole world in his hands. And here it wants me to show you that Palestine, right in this area here, that is where Jesus lived. And we are connected to Christians all around the world during our events focused on the world. We'll discover the part we can be good stewards to people in different countries and celebrate how we are part of a huge community of God's good stewards who live in different places. Yep, that's the earth. That's God has it in his hands, right? So, now we're going to talk about a Bible reading. The Bible reading, thank you, honey. We'll put it right there. The Bible reading we're going to look at is in the New Testament, in 1 Peter. It is chapter 4, verse 10, and it says, like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. And it says here they'd like you to repeat it, so we'll say it one more time. You're going to say it with us. Like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. And we want to remember that as we grow as good stewards throughout the summer, we'll keep this verse in our hearts and our minds, remembering that we have been given the gift of grace, and we can be good stewards of that gift by sharing God's grace with others. So we're going to do a prayer, and then I have a couple more things to talk about. So let's do our prayer. Ready? Dear God, we give thanks for this time together to learn about being good stewards of your grace. Your words, your creation help us grow as good stewards and as followers of you together. Amen. So I actually have a couple videos that we're going to attach to this video. One of them is Steward. It's going to be Steward, our stewardship plant, and we're going to talk about how we plant and take care of him, and we'll be using him each week. We also have a video of the outside of the church, and we talked to Rob, our sexton, about how he takes care of it, so I did a little video of that. We also have a video about our altar guild. They're going to send me that, and I'll attach it here. And then we're also going to have a little video about how we take care together, and we're going to talk about how we take care of our pet. I'm going to show you a little video of our rabbit and what we use to take care of him. And here, every week they have snack ideas, and since we can't be together and have a snack, I will tell you the ideas they have in here in case you feel like having the snack together at your house. They say here to have green fruits and vegetables for Stewart-inspired snacking, because Stewart is our green plant, so you can eat some green fruits and vegetables. So we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we have a couple videos that are going to be attached here, so I hope you enjoy, and please comment below, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody! Hi, everybody. We're going to be planting our stewardship plant. Now, we already talked about being good stewards and what we'll be doing the next couple weeks. And now we're going to take care of our plant. And I ask you if you want to get your own plant, you can do that at home and take care of it over the next 12 weeks, just like we are over here. So we're going to put him in a fresh pot with soil so that he has room to grow and food to eat, and we're going to water him so he has something to drink. Let's do that now, and then I'll talk more about what we're doing. Let's add some soil to our pot first so he has something below him. And then we'll top. And then we'll put soil around him. And this plant is an indoor plant. I'm planting him outside because it's so pretty out, but we're going to put him inside the house so that he thrives. Let's add some water, give him a drink. That'll make Stewart happy. And we'll take care of him every week with you, see how he's doing. And we're also going to add this special icon here. It's a baby sprout plant, and that's going to remind us that we planted Stewart. And every week we're going to add a new icon around the outside on what we learned. And this plant is one way for us to be good stewards of God's creation, and that's what we're going to learn about. Next up is we're going to show you the outside of our church and the things that we do to keep it nice and the plants healthy. And then we'll have another special video about our altar guild. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. We told you we would talk about our pet. This is our pet Kobe, and to be a good steward of our bunny, we take care of him. So this is his cage, and he has his food, and we put some treats in there, and we have his water bottle and his litter box, and we have this wood in here that is his bedding, and we also let him out of his cage. He likes to hop around. And we also pet him. He's super soft. He's actually 7 years old, maybe 8. He's getting older, but he's still pretty spunky. And we love him. He's a sweet little bunny. So we would love to know what pets you have. If you want to take a picture of your pet and post it in the comments and say how you take care of your pet, we'd love to hear. We also have a kitty cat, and we give her food and water. And we pet her, and she's a litter box too, but she is hiding right now, so we couldn't take a video of her, but maybe we'll post a picture in the comments to show our kitty. So we thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye! Bye. Hi, everybody. We're here at Mount Zion Lutheran Church, and part of our stewardship, we wanted to talk about the property and how it is cared for. I ended up calling Rod, who is our sexton, who takes care of the outside of our church, and he said that some of the things he does is he takes 1 to 2 days a week for outside care. He works with the flowers. He makes sure that they're nice and cared for. He cuts the grass. He trims the bushes and all of the trees. We have lots of trees here on the property. He also painted the lines in the parking lot, and he fixes up the sidewalk or anything on the outside of the church. And then in the fall, he'll take care of getting rid of the leaves and trimming. And then in this winter, he gets rid of the snow. He'll just come and he removes the snow from the sidewalks and from the parking lot. So he does a lot for our church, and that is just one more example of stewardship.
We're going to be talking today about Altar Guild and all of the jobs that are part of the group that does Altar Guild. So there are 2 components to Altar Guild. The first one is what you see on Sunday mornings, the communion setup. There are volunteers for each of the months for each service, and they come in before church starts to set communion up for the day, for each different service, getting the wine and the bread ready, setting out the cups, dressing everything, including setting out the burst and the veil that cover the communion cups until we're ready to use them for the service. Then after the service, the Altar Guild will also clean up after communion, wash all of the communion ware, put everything away, clean up the extra disposable cups that are used, and just generally put everything away and clean up for the service. One of the last things that the Altar Guild will take care of is pulling the altar flowers off that are purchased every week. They return them to the sacristy, which is the room that all of the Altar Guild's supplies are kept. And that's where they will be stored until whoever purchased them comes to pick them up, or we have a group of volunteers who put vases together to give to the shut-ins, and they will come on Monday mornings and do that if flowers aren't being used by the person who purchased them. So that's the first part about what the Altar Guild does. We are always looking for volunteers to help out with Altar Guild. It is a great thing for a family to do. It helps the children to learn about giving back to the congregation and about some of the reasons why we do certain things during a service. If you are interested in volunteering, contact Pastor. We are always looking for volunteers. You would be assigned a service in a month, and you would do that service for Altar Guild, the cleanup of communion, for that every Sunday that month. So that's the first part of the jobs of Altar Guild. There is a second part that happens so that the rest of the service that you attend each week runs smoothly, and it's done by a small group of people behind the scenes that make sure the church is dressed for the different times in the church year. Some of us are the ones who change the altar coverings every time the color changes or the season changes in the church, so that we keep up with the times of the church year. The paraments are kept in a cedar box in the sacristy, hanging on these poles, and we just pull out each time we need to change up the colors and switch out what we need to switch out for that specific time. So the church year has several different seasons, and you'll notice them by their color changes. But the year doesn't match the calendar year. The church year actually starts here with Advent. The first Sunday of Advent is the beginning of the church year, and then we will change to different colors. So if you notice, Advent is blue, and then Christmas and Epiphany and the baptism of Jesus are all white. And then we'll go to a green season for about 6 or 7 weeks, depending on time frames. And that is a green, okay? Then there are Sundays we'll just switch to white for a specific Sunday. If it's a festival day, so like Transfiguration here, goes from green to white right before we go into Lent. And then we change into purple for Ash Wednesday. And for the final week of Lent, Holy Week, we will put on the scarlet paraments. Easter Sunday can either be gold or white. We have a set of gold paraments, so we use those just for Easter Sunday, and then we'll put the white paraments on for the rest of the season of Easter. We have Pentecost, which is red, and then Trinity, which is white. Those of you who are older may have remembered Trinity used to be green, but they changed it to white. It's considered a festival Sunday, so it's back to white. And then we've got the long season of Pentecost, which, if you notice, is really green, okay? There are occasional times in the summer where we will have saints' days that fall on Sundays, and in that case we'll put the red paraments on to recognize their sacrifice or recognize their work in the church. Red in that instance is used for martyrdom, or talking about the sacrifices they gave up for their work in the church. This wheel doesn't have it, but we would go to red here for Reformation Sunday. That would be the next time in the long green season that we change to red, and then we have All Saints Day, which goes to white, go back to green for a couple of weeks, and then we white for Christ the King Sunday, and Christ the King is the last festival Sunday of the year, last Sunday of the church year, and then we roll into Advent and start the whole process over again. So there are some weeks we are changing paraments every week. Sometimes we'll go months without changing them. For instance, most of the time we'll change them at the beginning of June when Trinity is over, and then we won't have to change them again until the last week of October. But then there are some times that we're changing them constantly. So that's one of the things that goes on behind the scenes with the Altar Guild. So some of the other things that Altar Guild does behind the scenes is we make sure that the candles are filled and ready to use. We use almost all oil candles now, and so we need to make sure that the oil is sufficient for the services, so we fill those almost every week. We also set up for special services like baptisms and confirmations, making sure the items that pastor needs or that are needed for the ceremony are ready. Other aspects of special services, there are sometimes we put the candelabras out, which are the big candles that go on either side of the altar on the floor. We also have window candles sometimes that are put out. But one of the other big tasks that the Altar Guild does is that we make sure that we are set up for the special services like Christmas and Easter. We make sure that all of the items are out that are needed to make the service run smoothly and to give a certain ambiance of what is happening in the season, what people like to see as we celebrate the different high services of the church. And one of the last tasks that we do is set out banners, making sure that the banners are out at the times they need to be. We have a couple, like the ones along the sides, that stay out almost all the time, and then other ones that change according to whatever is going on in the church year, whether it's a special service or a special event that's going on or a special time. We try to set the banners up so they blend in with whatever else is going on in the life of the church. So those are the jobs of the Altar Guild, and as members of Altar Guild, we do enjoy doing the work. It helps us to know about the church history and why we do certain things. None of this is random. It's history of the church and has been in place for many, many, many years. But for us, it is a way that we can give back to the congregation as a service. So that is the role that Altar Guild plays in the congregation. If you're interested in volunteering, contact the office and we'll put you in touch with who you need to talk to.